Let's do one more. What do you guys think about Dick Cheney? My left-wing friends out there, we have been waiting for the right-wing populists to boo Mitch McConnell and Dick Cheney our whole lives. Take the win. Take the win.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel, and as you can see, I've got my Texas shirt on, so that means it's Saturday. For some reason, I was going over my videos, and I just so happened to notice that every single Saturday, I'm wearing this exact same shirt. I guess the old lady, when she folds my clothes, you know, she puts my shirts in order for me. I had no idea she was doing that, but, you know, it is what it is. I just so happened to notice this the other day, so it's Saturday. But, surprise, surprise, once again, it's not a Piers Morgan debate. But I think this one's a whole hell of a lot better, because as you saw with that intro, Cenk Uygur was at AmFest. He was up there talking to Charlie Kirk. He was speaking to the Maga base. Oh my God. Oh, he can't be having all that. It's a revolt. Oh, he's betrayed the left. Has he though? Has he though? I think there's something a little bit deeper going on here. But we got Bryan Tyler Cohen coming in, interviewing Cenk Uygur over this show that they put on or whatever over at AmFest. And yeah, he's very, very covert with what he's doing here, but not so much, right? Like, he's trying to be covert, I'll put it that way. He's trying to be covert, but to anybody who's paying attention and knows what's going on, you can clearly see what he's trying to do here. He's clearly trying to scold Cenk Uygur into talking to MAGA. Oh, you can't be doing that. You're legitimizing MAGA. Oh my God. No, it's lovely. You got to watch these people and just how they act. It's so funny the way they flounder around. They've lost everything, folks. You can go and check out Harry Sisson and clearly see this. This guy's just lost his freaking mind. David Pakman, he's the same way. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel over here, right? They're trying to take anything and everything they can. They've taken this civil war, as what they call it, right? It's not really even a civil war. It's just normal discourse. Like this was normal back in the day between Democrats and Republicans. But see, it's only in the past 8, 9, 10 years or so that, you know, Democrats just refuse to talk to the other side. They just yell and scream, and that's it. We can't have honest discourse. We can't openly discuss these ideas. And there's zero chance of you changing a leftist's mind on anything, right? And they've cultivized themselves. And what do I mean by that is they've turned themselves into a cult. That's what I mean by cultivized, right? Because that's pretty much what they've done since Trump came into the political arena. But before we get into that, if I could get you guys to do me a giant favor and smash that like button for me, I sure would appreciate that. And if you're new around here, hey, look, I need your help, y'all. Subscribe to this channel. That would be great. That would be awesome if you could do that. And you know what else would be even better than that? Sharing this video with anybody and everybody. Tell your friends, tell your family, all that good stuff. But without any further ado, here's Bryan Tyler Cohen, y'all.
I'm joined now by founder of TYT and host of The Young Turks, Cenk Uygur. Cenk, thank you so much for joining. That was a clip of you at an unlikely event this past weekend, AmFest, sponsored by Turning Point USA. So not exactly a liberal bastion there, but I wanted to talk about this event in particular because you've taken a lot of heat for going in the first place, and I want to push back against that right off the bat, because I do think if this election has shown us anything, is that Democrats do have to be willing to go into spaces that are more hostile to Democrats. Inherently, if we're going to look at expanding our coalition, expanding our tent, we have to go outside of that tent to be able to do that. So I disagree with people who think that you shouldn't be going there. I think we should be going into the most dangerous territory that we could. That's the only way that we're going to be able to really send our message the farthest. But I do take issue with one thing there. You said in that clip, I knew you guys were for real about fighting the establishment, and you give a bunch of a list of reasons, but you said it to a room full of people who voted for a billionaire in Donald Trump and who was funded by the literal richest guy in the world, in Elon Musk. So I understand and appreciate your argument that Kamala Harris and the Democrats are too establishment. That's a drum that you've beaten for years now, but isn't it insane to think that this Republican Party, this MAGA Republican Party, is the answer? Like, there are more billionaires in Trump's cabinet than the buffet line at Davos.
Yeah. So let's take both of those real quick. So number one, I'm going to talk to folks. There's a talking point that we have on the left that we don't realize is absurd, but it is totally absurd. They say, well, if you go talk to them, it legitimizes them. You know what legitimizes them? Winning the election.
Right. I mean, that ship has sailed, right? Like when people say don't go on Fox, as if millions of as if we're the reason that Fox is suddenly going to be legitimized because on a network that millions of people watch on a daily basis.
Of course. And so and they even won the popular vote. But the fact that they won the popular vote is very relevant because we have to win those voters back. And you can't win those voters back if you're not talking to them.
Okay, so here's the message that we're getting from that. You got to get out there. You got to go into the lion's den, y'all. You got to talk to the other side. We got to let them know our positions and stand firm and push back against some of their ideas. But hang on, we can't talk to MAGA at all. What? Wait, what? That is the other side. What the hell are you talking about here? Right? They don't see the MAGA movement as the other side. Right? The MAGA movement has successfully, in my opinion, pushed out the mainstream, the establishment Republican Party is the fringe element of the Republican Party currently, right? Like we still have these establishment in government, in Congress, and all that stuff that need to be pushed out, that we need to primary and get the hell out of there, right? We need to get these people out. But to say that, oh, well, you can't go talk to MAGA when, yeah, hang on, we just won the popular vote. That was MAGA, right? Now, Cenk Uygur coming in and kind of refuting this a little bit, but you see what Cenk is trying to do here. He's like, he sees an opportunity here, right? He sees where, hang on, not all of these people are going to agree, obviously, but we got to go in there and we got to try to win some of these people back. Yeah, well, good luck doing that, buddy, especially when you have Trump derangement syndrome, which Cenk Uygur does. Bryan Tyler Cohen is a cultist. So we've got two people right here. Like, I do agree a lot with Cenk, but I see what you're trying to do here, buddy. And, I don't think that's going to work. Don't think it's going to work, my friend, because we view politics in vastly different ways, if you know what I mean. They view everything from a victimhood perspective, like, oh, we got to go after the billionaires and all this other garbage, which is just kind of ridiculous in my opinion. We do agree on some things, but there's a lot we do disagree on. And anybody that voted for Donald Trump is not really going to just be like, oh, well, Trump was wrong, let's go to the other side over here, right? Like, no, sorry. That's just not going to happen. But he is right. You do need to get out there and you need to have discussions with these people. But, you're trying to win over a side. I don't think it's going to work. But we do need to have these discussions. We need to get back to some sort of normalcy. They need to realize that we have pushed the establishment. Of course, Jake has realized this, that we have successfully pushed out the establishment to the fringe. But Bryan Tyler Cohen is like, no, we got to hold on to that establishment, right? That's what Bryan Tyler Cohen pretty much is. He shows up on MSNBC all the freaking time. So, yeah, he's establishment, left-wing establishment, right? But you got to love that, right? Coming in like, yes, we need to go into the lion's den, but let's avoid this specific lion's den that happens to be the most popular lion's den of all the lion's dens out there. Yeah, just great messaging there, buddy. Yeah, you're really smart. Let's keep going.
I said later in that speech, I said, guys, don't, lower your guard because you have donors too. And then there was a little bit of a hush over the crowd, right? Because when you start talking about Republican donors, who pops to mind first? Elon Musk. And so I'm honest about it in both directions, and I say it to their face. And so I've gone on other right-wing shows and said, who's Elon, what's Elon Musk? He's a donor. He's the largest donor, over $250 million that he gave to Donald Trump. And now all of a sudden he wants regulatory agencies that regulate his companies to be wiped away from existence.
Right.
That's awfully convenient, right? And then who's his donor? His third largest donor, Miriam Adelson, $137 million. If you take the Adelson family, Sheldon and Miriam, Sheldon's passed away, but before he did, they've given over $330 million to Donald Trump, even larger than Elon Musk. And in my opinion, he's handed them foreign policy. So these are the points I make to right wingers, and who else is even getting in the room to make those points to tell not their leaders, but their voters, guys, remember, you're supposed to hate corruption. That's what you say 24/7. If you do, be careful about Elon Musk, Miriam Adelson, and every other donor that Trump has.
Well, I think that's where the point of contention is, because you saying this stuff is you operating in good faith. These people don't care. Like, there are no long-standing principles that they abide by. This is the purported party of family values, the purported party of the Constitution, of law and order, of states' rights, of fiscal responsibility. They will throw that shit out the window the moment, the millisecond it becomes inconvenient for them, and that's what they did. But you're saying these things to people as if they're operating under some principle that they should be against the establishment, that they should be against these donors, when they're not. The only longstanding principle is their allegiance to Trump. And so my worry is that, like, you trying to get through to them on these issues of principle is falling flat, because it's not principle that got them there in the first place. There is no longstanding principle when you are a Trump supporter.
Okay, so I'm not even 100% sure how to respond to that, because that was just gibberish. Complete and utter nonsense. What? What do you mean there's no principles behind conservatism? Well, what are you talking about here? Behind Trump supporters. Mostly Christians. A lot of Christians. Some of them aren't. You know, they're okay, a lot of them aren't. But a lot of them are. Right? So what are you talking about here, buddy? Right? We stand on our principles 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 395,000 days a year, if that's even possible, right? We constantly stand on our principles. This is the entire pushback against the woke garbage coming from your party, Bryan Tyler Cohen. This is the pushback against all of these deranged values that you guys seem to hold near and dear to your little bitty non-existent hearts, if you will. Your leftist brains have gone so far off base, so far away from reality, that you don't even know what the hell you're talking about these days, right? We're constantly just putting our principles out there, like, you can't do this, you can't do that. We can't have, drag queens in parades in the public. We don't want drag queen story hour. We don't want this woke garbage. We don't think we should be transing our kids. Hang on, I don't think you should kill the baby that's growing inside your belly. Blah, 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 blah. It could go on forever like that. We are constantly standing on our principles. And what are you guys doing? Oh, we can't talk to you. No, you guys are just pure evil. Christians, evil. Right. The same people that, will get out there and pray for you to be healthy, or to get better from the flu or something like that. The same people that will go and donate clothes to charity to give to you guys. The same people that go to church on Sunday and pray to God for world peace, that pray to God for this family who is in dire straits or whatever, to find some sort of solace with whatever's going on in their life, right? These are the same people that just want peace across the world. They want people to get along, right? We want to be kind of left alone, if you will. Let us live our lives, and we don't want your woke garbage shoved down our freaking throat. Yeah. So I don't know what in the hell he's trying to get at here, but I had to put that clip in here because it's just utter nonsense. Like, these are the same people that drop their values to push this woke garbage, right? This weird ideology, if you even want to call it an ideology, because it's just the flavor of the week. Whatever the far left is spouting, that's what they go with, right? It's just nonsense coming from these people. But we've got one more clip coming in for you guys, so let's keep going.
I think the part that, and you touched on this, is the cognitive dissonance between these people purporting to say that they are for one thing, and yet constantly reaffirming their support for Donald Trump, who stands in stark opposition to the very thing that they purport to be against. And so I guess my question for you is, what's your red line to the point where you finally recognize whether or not the people who you were talking to at Turning Point USA's AmFest, for example, are not actually operating in good faith, and whether there is, again, to my earlier question, no actual longstanding principle, it's other than fealty to the God King, right? I guess that's what I'm trying to figure out here, because thus far there has been no indication that, even though they say they're for anti-corruption, Donald Trump's the most corrupt guy to ever sit in the Oval Office, even though they say that they're, for the list goes on and on, right? It's the list that we have spoken about earlier. But when will you stop giving certain people at this event, for example, the benefit of the doubt in terms of their actions not matching up to their rhetoric?
Yeah. So I think some things are clear, right? So, for example, we're not going to win on a whole heap of issues, right? So, like, if I try to convince them that the crypto bros are going in the wrong direction, right, I'm going to get massive blowback, and I'm never going to win on that.
Correct.
Okay. So that's going to take 4 years and probably us getting robbed to the tune of a couple of $1 trillion before they realize that mistake. Okay. So I'm super realistic about all of these different things. I think that on corruption, they're never going to want to admit in the beginning that Trump is doing favors for their donors. Although, again, I see right-wing hosts and people in their audience going, I understand what you're saying about Jeff Yaz and TikTok. I understand what you're saying about electric vehicles and Elon. So that's the beginning, right? It's not the end. So then my best guess is the anti-war stuff is where the rubber hits the road. So he put in, and Brian, parts of your audience, parts of the left-wing hosts, etc., might not love this, but my sense is that the rubber's probably going to hit the road on Israel.
Okay, so this is where I have to push back a little bit on the idea of all donors are bad, right? Just take a look at Elon Musk, for example. He's probably the biggest donor of this past election cycle. Okay, so we follow Elon Musk sometimes. I look at his posts on X. The guy's based just outright. He just so happens to be a billionaire. Now, in the eyes of the left, all billionaires are just evil outright. That's it. You can't look at the people's merits. You can't look at the individual and differentiate, hey, look, this guy might be a billionaire, but he's also very logical, very sensible, and very reasonable with pretty much all of his actions, right? He does and says stuff that, you might not agree with totally, but for the most part, Elon Musk is a very, very based individual. He puts out very logical, sensible tweets that make a lot of sense, right? Now, because this is another thing that they can't seem to differentiate. If Donald Trump does something that favors Elon Musk, right, and Elon Musk says and does and asks for a lot of things that we also want, where's the problem with this, right? You guys call that corruption, but we call that, hey, hang on, we just spoke to Elon Musk about these things, and he just spoke to Donald Trump about it and got it done. That's a campaign promise, if you will, right? That's doing something that benefits everybody, right? If Donald Trump slashes some regulations that benefits Elon Musk, these guys are going to call that corruption. But if it benefits society, even as a side effect, right? Where's the problem with this? I don't see the corruption here, and that's something these people can't seem to get through their freaking minds, is that, the donors over here on our side, they're not all good, obviously, but taking Elon Musk as an example, does stuff that benefits society. He's a very logical person, like I was saying, so he's going to take actions that benefit people. Just outright. Just because he's a rich billionaire doesn't mean he's our enemy. See, that's a big difference between our side and their side. But once again, like I was saying, they view just anybody that's rich as evil. Well, over here on our side, in the real world, we view people that we view that as they're just successful. Yeah, they just so happen to have a lot of money. We don't view them any differently because we understand something innate to people's personalities that, sure, money may change somebody, sure, and that happens, but it doesn't change everybody outright. And you still have a lot of good, very good people out there that just so happen to be rich. We look at individual merits versus just, class viewing people through the lens of class like they do. Oh, if we're in this class, we have to hate this other class. We have to hate the rich people, regardless if they're good, bad, or whatever. Doesn't matter to them. Well, we happen to just look at individual, meritocracy, if you will. That's what we base our worldview on. Individual merits. Right? And if you're a successful person, yeah, you've done something very positive to get in that position most of the time. Especially, you take Elon Musk, who is not some trust fund kid. He wasn't, raised with a silver spoon in his mouth. He built his empire, right? And we view that as very, very successful. They view that as, well, he had to step on a lot of people's backs to get to where he's at. Once again, that doesn't connect logically with reality, because just because somebody gets rich doesn't mean that somebody else gets poor, right? You don't have to step on somebody's back to be successful, right? He doesn't have to put down all these people to get to where he's at, in other words, right? So we see people like, Elon Musk, Vivek Ramaswamy, these people who have built their empires from nothing, right? And are very successful in doing so. Well, we happen to look at that and trust what these people are saying because they know where everybody else is coming from. Just because they're a rich billionaire doesn't mean they don't relate to the average everyday American. And they can never seem to understand this, right? So speaking in terms of absolutes, right? Just because you're a billionaire doesn't mean you're evil. Doesn't mean you're always looking to just enrich yourself and screw everybody else. Right? That doesn't mean that at all. And these people can't seem to understand this. I've argued with several people online about this. Right? Why you want to tax the rich, right? I understand the corporate taxes to an extent. Right? Because a lot of these places, they make lots and lots of profit and they only enrich their buddies off of it. Sure, I get that. But, once again, what does that have to do with me? Nothing. I'm not getting more poor because they get more rich. Now, there are people out there that do this. Sure, fine, I get that. And that's not a very good, way to live your life. It's probably going to end poorly for you. I believe in karma a lot, and karma does come around to bite people in the butt, if you will. But I don't think that, a lot of these rich people are just innately evil, right? I just can't see that. I look at individual people, because they are still people, regardless if they're rich, poor, middle class, doesn't matter. If they're political class, yeah, they're probably not good people for some reason. I don't know what it is about the political class that just, man, those people, a lot of them just don't seem to be very genuine people. They seem to be corporate robots, like Cenk says. They just, I don't know, they come off inauthentic and look like they're just a snake in the grass person, if you will. But I think I've rambled on for long enough on this one, y'all. I think I've made my point quite clear. But I want y'all to let me know what y'all think about all this down in the comments section, because I'd love to get y'all's input. Do y'all agree with me, or do you agree with these guys that we shouldn't talk to Maga at all? Like, hang on, dude. Like, no, that doesn't make any sense. You shut up and get out of here with all that nonsense. But y'all let me know what y'all think. That's all I got. Y'all don't forget to smash that like button for me. I sure would appreciate that. And y'all try to have a good day. Stay legitical. Peace.